What would make a man walk away from $1 billion? Not a failed merger, not a crumbling market, something far more personal. When Julian Miles, a brilliant and fiercely private black CEO, enters the final stages of closing a historic tech deal, he knows the stakes. Generational wealth, legacy, and a seat at the world's most powerful tables. But when a veiled insult aimed at his aging father slips from the mouth of one of his potential white business partners, cloaked in casual elitism and racial undertones, Julian doesn't flinch. He walks, shocks the room, ends the deal. Now everyone's asking, why would a man sacrifice $1 billion future over a single moment? Was it pride? Was it foolish? Or was it something deeper? An uncompromising devotion to family, dignity, and the unseen battles black leaders still face in boardrooms built to exclude them. Marcus Williams wasn't born into power. He built it. At just 34, he is the CEO of Cypher, a revolutionary cybersecurity firm turning heads across Silicon Valley and Wall Street alike. The son of a retired mechanic and a public school teacher, Marcus is a first-generation college graduate who coded his first encryption tool in a crowded apartment in Southside Chicago using a second-hand laptop and Wi-Fi borrowed from the corner cafe. What started as a side hustle to pay tuition at Howard University evolved into a tech juggernaut protecting data for Fortune 5s and government agencies. But Marcus never lost touch with his roots. Quiet, disciplined, and intensely loyal, he still visits his father every Sunday. Same barbershop, same diner, same folding chair in the backyard where they talk about life like nothing's changed, except everything has. Now Cypher is poised for a $1 billion acquisition by Harrington Global, a legacy firm owned by one of America's wealthiest white families. For Marcus, this deal isn't just about money. It's validation, access, and a historic moment for a black founder in a space dominated by old money and old rules. The Harringtons see in Marcus a brilliant mind and a clean investment. What they don't see, or perhaps choose not to, is the fire that built him, the pride that shaped him, and the man who taught him to never bow to anyone, no matter the offer. The deal is days from closing, but Marcus feels something coming. The offer didn't come overnight, it was months in the making. Harrington Global had been circling Cypher for nearly a year. Intrigued by the company's innovative AI-driven security platform and Marcus's reputation as a visionary leader with nerves of steel. After several rounds of due diligence, late-night strategy calls and face-to-face meetings with the Harrington heirs, the deal was finally on the table. A $1 billion acquisition that would cement Cypher's place in tech history and catapult Marcus into a rare echelon of wealth and influence. Marcus felt the gravity of the moment. He wasn't easily dazzled, but even he couldn't deny the weight of what this meant for his company, his employees, his community. His team erupted in celebration when the offer became official. Champagne flowed in the office. Cheers echoed off glass walls. Some hugged, others cried. For many of them, this deal was life-changing, but Marcus remained measured, excited, yes, but cautious. He knew what it had taken to get here. He also knew that everything in business came with a cost. Still, the excitement was infectious. No one beamed with more pride than David Williams, Marcus's father. A retired school teacher with calloused hands and a gentle soul, David had raised Marcus on principles, integrity, hard work, and the understanding that dignity couldn't be bought or sold. "I'm proud of you, son," David said, his voice thick with emotion. "Not just for what you built, but for how you built it." Marcus smiled, but something in his gut whispered, "Stay sharp. Not everything that shines is gold." A week before the deal's final signing, Marcus and his father David were invited to the Harringtons' private estate in upstate New York, a gesture they were told to welcome them into the family. The estate was everything one might expect from a dynasty built over generations. Manicured gardens, vintage cars parked beside fountains, and a main house that looked more like a museum than a home. Marble floors, oil portraits, and silent staff moved through the halls like ghosts trained to disappear. Marcus had been in luxury boardrooms before, but this felt different. This wasn't just wealth, it was lineage, a world where money had long erased the memory of struggle. And as he and David stepped inside, Marcus began to notice the shifts in energy. Staff members hesitated before addressing them, their greetings tinged with forced politeness. A butler offered Marcus champagne but glanced at David as if unsure whether he should even be served. At one point, a maid directed them to the guest entrance before realizing who they were. David didn't say anything, but Marcus saw it. The familiar tightening of his jaw, the same look he wore whenever he'd faced disrespect in his teaching days and swallowed it for the sake of peace. Marcus placed a hand gently on his father's back. "We're good," he murmured. But he wasn't sure he believed it. In a house filled with polished wood and polished smiles, the cracks were already beginning to show. The dinner was meant to be celebratory, white-gloved waiters, crystal glasses, and a candlelit dining room that looked like it had never seen anything less than perfection. Marcus arrived in a custom-tailored suit, his father in his Sunday best, a charcoal blazer and tie that he only wore on rare occasions. The Harringtons greeted them with firm handshakes and hollow smiles. Everything was choreographed, 12 courses, monogrammed place cards, and a string quartet playing softly in the background. But beneath the surface, Marcus could feel the tension tightening like piano wire. David sat quietly at Marcus's side, answering questions politely but with restraint. It was clear he was out of place, though not because he lacked class. He had more than anyone in the room. But this was a world that didn't expect to share space with men like him. Midway through dinner, over a course of dry-aged venison, one of the Harrington sons, Elliot the youngest, leaned back in his chair and said with a smirk, "You know, David, you must be proud. From fixing cars to watching your son land a $1 billion deal. It's like something out of a movie. The help, maybe?" A burst of awkward laughter trickled down the table. Some winced, others looked away. Marcus froze. David gave a tight smile, his voice steady. "Proud doesn't begin to cover it. But I didn't raise a man to be anyone's entertainment." Elliot raised a glass in mock cheer. "Just saying, it's impressive, especially considering, well, where you both came from." Marcus felt the heat rise in his chest. The words were dressed in civility, but the message was clear. "You're not one of us." He looked at his father, calm, composed, quietly swallowing the disrespect. For Marcus, it was the final confirmation. These weren't partners. They were buyers, and they saw him and his father as something to be acquired, not respected. The deal wasn't done yet, but something inside Marcus was. That night, back in his hotel suite, Marcus sat alone, staring at the city skyline beyond the glass. The numbers made sense. The deal made sense. But everything else, everything that truly mattered, was unraveling inside him. He kept replaying the dinner in his mind, the joke, the laughter, the way his father held his dignity like armor, refusing to let them see him bleed. And then came the memories, flashbacks, uninvited. His father working late nights at the auto shop, grease-stained hands and aching knees, then coming home to grade papers at the kitchen table. The time he pawned his wedding ring to buy Marcus a used laptop. The countless nights he said, "Keep going, son," even when there was barely food on the table. Marcus had built Cypher from the ground up, but not alone. His father had been the foundation beneath every line of code, every sleepless night, every pitch to investors. Now, those same investors were calling, emails piled up, news outlets hinted at a historic close. His board reminded him that walking away could cost them all dearly. But at what cost had he come this far? He thought about the way the Harringtons smiled as they insulted his father, the way the room tolerated it, the way power lets people believe dignity is negotiable. He could sign the deal tomorrow and be hailed a business icon, or he could walk away and protect something no billion-dollar valuation could touch. He closed his laptop and turned off the lights. The answer was becoming clear. The next morning, Marcus requested a private meeting with the Harrington family at their state library, a vaulted room lined with leather-bound books and portraits of men who'd never had to justify their power. The mood was cordial, but tense. "I want to address what happened at dinner," Marcus began, his voice calm but firm. "The comment directed at my father, what Elliot said, was offensive, disrespectful, and not just to him." Jonathan Harrington, the patriarch, offered a tight smile. "Marcus, come on, it was a joke. A bit tone-deaf, sure, but no harm was meant. Elliot has a dry sense of humor." "Intent doesn't erase impact," Marcus replied. "My father didn't deserve that. None of this feels like partnership anymore. It feels like ownership." There was a pause. Then Caroline Harrington, the family's legal head, leaned forward. "We understand how this might have been misinterpreted, but Marcus, think about what you're walking away from. $1 billion. Legacy. Visibility for your company and your community. Don't throw that away over feelings." Marcus stared at her, stunned at the casual dismissal. "This isn't about feelings," he said. "It's about respect. And the fact that you can't tell the difference is exactly the problem." They shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. In that moment, Marcus knew they never saw him as an equal, just a profitable story, and he was done playing a role in it. That night, Marcus sat across from his father in the quiet of their hotel room, the weight of the past few days settling heavy between them. Silence hung thick at first, both men wrestling with the same question, but from different angles. Finally, Marcus broke the stillness. "Dad, I don't know if I can go through with it. The deal, it's more than money now. It feels like selling a part of myself and you." David looked up, his eyes steady and kind. "Marcus, I've watched you build this company from nothing. I've seen you fight every day for your place in this world. You don't owe those people anything, least of all your dignity." Marcus swallowed hard. "But the board, the investors, they're counting on me. Walking away could ruin everything." David shook his head. "Son, a deal isn't worth losing who you are. You know what you're worth. Don't let anyone make you feel small or like you have to settle for less." The words hit Marcus deep, like a bomb and a spark at once. He thought of the endless nights, the sacrifices, the pride in his father's eyes despite the slights. Could he really trade that for a check? For acceptance in a room that never truly welcomed him? He clenched his fists, feeling a fierce clarity rising inside him. The price of silence, of compromise, was too high. "I'm done," Marcus said, his voice steady but fierce. "I'm canceling the deal." David reached across the table and squeezed his son's hand. "That's my boy." In that moment, Marcus didn't just reclaim a business decision, he reclaimed his dignity, his loyalty, and the legacy his father had worked a lifetime to protect. Some victories couldn't be bought. They had to be fought for. The morning after Marcus's decision, the news broke like wildfire. Headlines across business and tech media screamed, "Black CEO walks away from $1 billion deal." Social media buzzed with speculation. Some hailed Marcus as a hero, a man who put principles above profit. Others questioned his judgment, calling the move reckless and short-sighted. For the first few days, Marcus remained tight-lipped. He refused interviews and declined to discuss the details behind the cancellation. Protecting his father's dignity was paramount, and exposing the full story felt like handing the Harringtons more ammunition. Investors were split. Some on the board voiced outrage, calling Marcus irresponsible, accusing him of putting personal feelings over shareholder value. Yet a growing number admired his courage, saying his choice was a necessary stand against a system that still demanded conformity at the cost of identity. Meanwhile, the Harrington family quickly spun a PR-friendly narrative. Their statement painted the decision as a mutual parting of ways, praising Marcus's accomplishments and emphasizing respect for his personal priorities. They downplayed any discord, reinforcing their image as gracious business leaders. But behind the polished words, whispers in the industry told a different story, one of simmering tensions, old money resistance, and the harsh realities faced by black leaders in elite spaces. Through it all, Marcus stayed grounded, knowing that while the fallout was messy, he'd chosen the harder path, the one where dignity wasn't up for sale. And for him and his father, that made all the difference. After months of silence, Marcus decided it was time to share his story. In an exclusive interview, he spoke candidly about the events that had upended his life. Marcus detailed the circumstances surrounding his father's controversial decisions, painting a picture that went beyond the surface rumors and media frenzy. With heartfelt conviction, he defended his father's dignity, emphasizing the complexity of the situation and the values that guided their family. Marcus explained why he chose integrity over financial gain, rejecting lucrative offers that sought to exploit his family's pain for profit. He spoke about the internal struggle he faced, but ultimately prioritized honesty and respect for his father's legacy above all else. His words resonated deeply with many who had witnessed similar challenges within their own communities. The interview quickly went viral, sparking conversations across social media and news outlets. Praised especially within the black community, Marcus's story became a beacon of strength and authenticity. Many saw him as a symbol of courage, someone who chose truth and principle over easy money. His story inspired discussions about the importance of the family loyalty, integrity, and the power of owning one's narrative. In the weeks that followed, Marcus found himself at the center of a larger movement, reminding everyone that sometimes the most powerful statement is the one rooted in truth. In the aftermath of the viral interview, Marcus focused on rebuilding what had been shaken. He attracted a new wave of investors who shared his values of integrity, transparency, and community empowerment. These partners believed in his vision not just for profit, but for meaningful impact. With their support, Marcus's company regained momentum and began to thrive independently, free from the shadows of past controversies. Meanwhile, Marcus's father emerged as a respected voice in media interviews. His calm, measured responses and unwavering dignity turned him into a symbol of quiet strength. Rather than fading into the background, he became a source of inspiration for many who admired his resilience and humility through adversity. The father and son story transformed from scandal to a testament of character and reconciliation. Building on this momentum, Marcus launched a mentorship initiative aimed at empowering young black entrepreneurs. Recognizing the challenges he faced, he wanted to create a platform where the next generation could access guidance, resources, and networks often out of reach. The program quickly gained attention for its authenticity and impact, reflecting Marcus's commitment to uplifting his community. Together, Marcus and his father redefined their legacy, not as a story of hardship, but one of renewal and purpose. Their journey underscored the power of integrity, the importance of family, and the lasting impact of giving back. Through their example, they inspired many to pursue success on their own terms, rooted in honesty and pride. Sometimes walking away is the most powerful move you can make. Know your worth. Never trade your dignity for dollars. Marcus's story reminds us that integrity and family come before fortune. We encourage you to share this story, reflect on your own values, and support leaders who choose honesty over easy gain. Would you walk away from $1 billion to protect your family's dignity? Tell us in the comments below. Your voice matters in this conversation about courage, respect, and standing firm.